So how's Wayne Hunt goes to New York? This is a guy who catches every disease under the sun. I don't think he's been 100% for about 5 years. But decides to go to New York while there's a coronavirus.
Mate, I don't know who should be more worried. Should we be worried about him bringing it back here, or you reckon their port authorities are concerned that he brought it over there? The bloke, I don't know anybody who coughs up more phlegm than Wayne Hunt. Miniso.
Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes. Watch out! Here it comes.
I'm telling you now, he took it over there.
Yeah?
Yeah, oh, dude, is there any coincidence that he leaves New York and look what happens? His joint's falling apart. Everyone's crook.
It's like he's an avid comic book fan, and they're going to trace it back, and he's going to be like the arch nemesis. He's going to be Patient Zero.
Wayne Mike Hunt, Patient Zero. I can't believe his mum called his middle name Mike, but anyway. Look,
she knew before we did. The second he came out,
I'd start calling him Rona. I mean, he used to ruin New York.
Right.
And then it's just, that's Wayne for you.
Well,
he's a travelling virus. He is one big virus.
He always wanted to supersede James Dolan, and he's done it. He is,
He gave
public enemy number one over in New York.
Well, he might gain some popularity in New York because he actually did give it to James Dolan.
That's true, actually. That's probably the best thing that's happened to the Knicks in probably 2 decades.
Have we heard how Mr. Dolan is doing?
I have not. Sad news, though, out of the NBA today with the day that we are recording. Karl Anthony Towns' mother passed away due to complications related to the coronavirus, which is, again, makes it incredibly real. We're hearing about, celebrities and people that we know, and it's not until you sort of put a face to it or a name to it or there's a connection. I mean, obviously we had Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and then a couple of other Marcus Smart and players, but to have a death, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. Like I think she'd been in a coma for a few weeks now. I think on the ventilator. But yeah, look for what it's worth. You wish Karl Anthony Towns and his family all the best. That's I think she wasn't that old either, was she? Probably in her 50s or so.
Yeah, early 50s, I believe.
Yeah, way too young, but what can you say? You try and say the right thing, but you just don't know what to say in times like that.
No, it's pretty brutal, but it's the world we live in. I mean, we were talking before we hit the record button, and I'm sure, like everybody else listening and everybody on the courtside page, we're missing our league. The season was heating up. We had Doncic in the West and Trey in the East, and these up and comers, plus the resurgence of the Lakers and the continued dominance of the Bucks, and we were getting to the pointy end. The All-Star break was over, and things were starting to fall into place for a lot of teams, and we're just we want everybody to be safe, but it's hard not to feel robbed.
No, you're right, and it's been a long 7 years for us Laker fans.
It has.
I mean, I actually, after the All-Star break, I just had this, Stu, we're Lakers fans. We know we know championships, okay? So
Smell it a mile away.
We can see the signs. I actually thought the Lakers just had that look about them, like they were starting to kick it up a notch.
Yep.
And then it just got taken out from under us. Side note, fuck China. Just got taken out from under us. But how are you coping without this? Without the NBA, mate? I've had little ways, but I'm interested. I'm keen to see how you've been coping.
Yeah, look, I've big fan of 90s basketball, and I guess YouTube has been a big source. So I've gone back and as well as NBA.com and checking out old games. But if there's nothing in particular that I can find, I mean, it's awesome. Gone are the days of just a few clips here and there. There are an absolute library of full games on YouTube. So, look, I've been going back. I've watched Kobe's last game, his 60 game, which we'll have to touch on today, being his fourth year anniversary of his retirement. I watched his 81-point game about 3 nights ago. I guess just sort of reminiscing about, when I fell in love with the game. So back in, the 80s when I first watched Showtime basketball, there's not as many full games that I can find with Big Game James and Magic and the Cap. But yeah, just whatever I can. Old and one mixtape, street ball, Rafer Alston and Stephon Marbury. And, it's just anything I can get my hands on, mate. I miss it.
Well, I've been watching a lot of 90s, but main decade I've been watching, believe it or not, is the 80s.
Right.
And the latest one I watched was it was Charles Barkley's rookie year, and he still had Moses Malone. He still had Irving, Mo Cheeks.
Wow.
And it's always against the Celtics. They just seem to have a lot of Celtics games on there. And the thing I loved about it, you got Moses Malone and Parrish just going at it.
Yes.
And hammering each other and getting 3 the old way, It was physical, but there was still that fast break mixed in.
Oh, it was so much more physical, wasn't it?
Oh, and I just love that style of ball. Like they're coming off the court back then really sore.
Yes. Yeah.
They're coming off the court now. I'm not saying
no load management.
Nah, not back then, mate. And that's the thing that annoys me, but I just love it. And in the 90s, I've been watching a lot of Sonics, Houston, Lakers. Not a lot of Bulls stuff because I've seen it all before, but I just love it. It's such a. Don't get me wrong, I love the NBA today, but the style of ball in the 90s and 80s for me is my all-time favourite.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I mean, look, I get it. There's a lot to love from LeBron onwards, and your Kawhis, and and these young bucks coming through. No pun intended with Giannis. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's a new breed of hybrid baller. These tall guys who love to shoot threes and pop 18-foot jumpers. But yeah, having grown up watching the style when the big boys banged, in the paint, and it was rough and tumble, and if you got 20 and 10, you earned it.
Big time. There's one you should watch. It's actually on YouTube. That's where I found it. I think it's the 92 playoffs Game 5, Pacers and Celtics. Yep. And Larry Bird and Chuck Person just have a shootout.
Nice. Okay.
I won't spoil it for you, but Larry Bird just he goes into the locker room and comes back, and yeah.
Yeah, Larry's back would have been pretty bad about 92.
Yeah, but this wasn't the back this time. It was something to do with his face. So I'll let you watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch that and report back in. Okay.
I don't know. I think people have forgotten how good Larry was.
Oh, I was only having this chat the other day. People were talking about the greatest small forwards of all time, and people, obviously just go to LeBron and go to Scottie Pippen, and in a lot of senses, it's kind of hard to call him a true small forward in the sense that he shot the rock, crazy and 3-point, but I mean, he was a legitimate 6'9". I mean, if he was playing today, I reckon they probably would have called him 6'11", the way that they exaggerate heights. Larry was, but mate, he was brilliant.
Oh, dude, if he wasn't, if he didn't have that back injury, I reckon he would have played. I think he retired at 34. He could have played till he was about 38, I reckon, easy, because he could just shoot, and he was so smart, and he was never that quick anyway. But just no go.
Oh, his IQ was huge, and the way that he could up fake and get people off the ground and make it so much easier for himself. Because again, as tall as he was pretty unathletic, all things said. But God, he could get his shot off, anytime, anywhere, against anyone.
Another guy who I've enjoyed watching, because I was a post player back in my prime.
Of course you were.
Oh well, mate, I was a beast. Let me tell you. Kevin McHale, man, I could watch that dude play all day. The post moves, the up and unders, the footwork, he's awesome.
Oh, and any purist will say, with the exception of obviously Tim Duncan and the big fundamental is a deserving name, but in terms of post work, they say that McHale, Olajuwon and Duncan just clinical, just absolutely methodical in what they did.
It absolutely gets me excited, slightly aroused, I've got to say, because it's just beautiful to watch. And if you look at him, you're like, he's a basketballer? Like,
coat hanger. Just he was like Phil Jackson, just, 4 foot wide of shoulders and elbows.
But we got him here in Australia, like we got started the coverage here like probably his last couple of years. So he had that bad foot or ankle, I think it was. Yep. So he was on the decline, but he was still serviceable. Actually, he was still good, actually. Watching him is even Robert Parrish. He was so good. Danny Ainge.
Where did Chief finish up? Did Chief finish with the Bulls?
He did. He won that 4th ring with the Bulls.
Okay.
When I say won,
well, he had good seats for the show.
Yeah, he was there.
He was the Adam Morrison.
Talk about just hanging on for that extra ring, but hey, it's a ring nonetheless.
Yeah, what was he? He must have been about 51 then, was he?
Oh, close. I think about 43. I think he was.
Okay, God, that's old. Bloody hell.
But Kevin Willis was like 43, 44 when he won one with the Spurs, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was. He was pretty old. That's right. Gee whiz. He still looked like he could rip your head off.
Yeah, speaking of ripping your head off.
Oh, yeah. Good segue, Benson.
Well, you have been on TV numerous times. You know what you're doing.
I'm throwing to the co-host.
Well, you might know Benson from The Block, Sunrise.
Stop it.
He's just, have a look at him. Antoine, the original big dog, Antoine Carr, is on Twitter.
Is he? Does he wear his Oakleys?
No. But I tell you what he did post. He posted a video of him when he was in WCW escorting Conan, K-Dog from the NWO to the ring in Utah. And Antoine was wearing a tank top and shorts. And the guy's an absolute beast.
Huge human being.
I actually tweeted him and said, my God, I feel sorry for the dudes who had to guard you.
Yeah.
Because I would have been asking for help. And he liked it and retweeted it.
I thought you were about to say, I feel sorry for your wife. Look at the size of you. He was a weapon. He used to give Shaq trouble. Like he just physically, he was one of the very few people who could give it back.
Dude, I didn't realise. Like I knew he was big and strong. I did not realise he was that big.
Yeah, right.
Like he was dwarfing some of the wrestlers. Like
yeah, right.
It just makes you appreciate just what people went through guarding these guys. Like you just run into a brick wall trying to back him, like hold him off.
Yeah. He would have been
insane size. Check it out on YouTube. Just walking to the ring. I just couldn't believe it. I had to tweet him. I'm like, my God. Like,
so if he just looked that physically bigger than everybody else, like it was just jaw dropping. Like you were just like, what the like who? Yeah,
dude, he made the rest. Like Conan is not a small wrestler.
Yeah,
he's probably about 6'2", right? But he's muscular. It just made him look like a dwarf. That's like he's like.
I think we've found the cover image for the podcast post on the Courtside Facebook page.
Dude, I was impressed. I'm telling you, I was like, that's just insane. If I was that big, I'd be guns out all day.
Wow.
But look, since we're on the track of old school, is there you've been watching old basketball games? Is there any jerseys that you'd love to see make a comeback?
Ooh, Oh, goodness me. I'd love the Seattle Supersonics jerseys to come back because that would mean we'd have a team in Seattle.
That is on my list, and I totally agree, and I think it's coming. It's coming eventually.
I've heard Kevin Garnett's come out and said that he'd put money behind it. He'd love to be a financier if he could get some other extremely rich people involved.
Mate, Chris Hansen is chomping at the bit to get the Sonics back.
Yeah.
They've got a new arena deal and everything. They're primed to go. They just need the NBA to pull the trigger, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder, in terms of conferencing and in terms of how they even it up. I mean, like they did with the last lot of expansion. I guess they like to do it in twos to keep conferences balanced. Would they look at reducing and removing a team? Would they look at adding a team? I wonder what they would do.
Vegas.
Vegas makes sense, but I mean, it's another West Coast team, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Bill Simmons was saying that Vancouver should get another team that, you know, they were really popular there, like more.
Well, yeah, I know Nash wanted to go. My stepfather is Canadian, grew up in British Columbia and in Vancouver, and he was the season ticket holder for their inaugural season. And he said like they were getting great crowds and the city loved them, and it was just really devastating when Vancouver lost the Grizzlies.
Yeah, well, I'd be happy to see that. And they had wicked jerseys too. Love those jerseys.
Yeah, I love it when I do love it when Memphis go the throwbacks. Goodness me, in terms of jerseys, not that I like watching Pistons basketball too much. I do miss the turquoise Pistons jerseys that Grant Hill and Stackhouse used to rock.
Wow, you're about the only one in the world. Okay, I like them, and I know another person who likes them. But
okay, yeah, not many people do. There's something about them. I like them.
Yeah.
As much as I like the Philadelphia that have gone quite throwback with filler on the front, I like the Allen Iverson, that sort of, that black with the red and that sort of swirl, kind of the star that came up into the eye of the Sixers. I kind of like that one.
I'm not a fan. I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of that one. I don't know why. Just didn't like them.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I thought it suited Iverson. Like it was almost that gangster hip hop version that that terrible 90s basketball when everybody on the sideline was wearing their pants around their ankles, and it was like every sideline was like a bloody MTV Cribs video or something. It was a bit full on.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I just as long as Miami Heat keep wearing those electric uniforms, I'm happy. I love.
Yeah, I'll give you those. They're nice. They're nice.
Those Miami Knights ones. Oh, the pink ones and the neon blue ones, and I love what they're doing down in Miami. And I could talk about them as an organisation all day. I'm a big fan of them from the top all the way down to the bottom.
They're well run. And it all changed when they got
well coached. They draft well. Yeah.
Pat Riley, man, he went there and just turned it all around.
100%. What do you got? What jerseys do you want to see come back?
Well, the first one I'd like to see come back is, the Suns jersey from 93, 92, 93.
Yeah, with the sharp sun on the front of the ball.
Yep.
With the
Yep. I love those.
Loved it. Loved that. I had one of them. I had a Barkley one.
Dude, get it back. They're awesome. The other one I liked was, the Denver ones with the Denver City on the front with the
Tetris.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Love those.
Yeah.
Love to see them come back. What else have I got written down here? Golden State Warriors, when Webber was there and run TMC.
Yep.
They are just awesome jerseys. I don't know why they changed. I do like the ones they've got now, but need to go back to those. Now, this next one, the Sixers.
Mm-hmm.
From, I think Barkley wore them for a bit, but when Sean Bradley got there, Sixers, and it had the stars underneath.
Yeah. I know the only reason I know the one you're talking about is because he said when Sean Bradley was there. I remember exactly that. I remember exactly that uniform.
Yep. So, they're probably ones I've been watching since the old school, and I've just thought, what, they look really, really good. And as you said before, the Sonics, about the 94. Yeah, they're just and if the Sonics come back, that's the jersey they need to come back in. It
was 94 the one that they threw back when Durant was there, that were like the green with the white stripe across the chest?
Yeah, 94.
Or are you talking about the darker green ones that they wore when Kemp and Payton were in the finals?
The darker green one. No, not with the silly Sonics across the front and the Space Needle. It was one. It's like 2 years before that. It was real dark green. Same style as the Durant one, but darker and stuff.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah. It's interesting, actually, just a real quick segue. We mentioned Sean Bradley, of all people. I went up to my primary school the other week to do some filming for a video that I'm putting together for my company. And my local primary school that I actually went to is like literally I grew up, just a couple of streets away from it. So I went up there and got talking to the principal, and a couple of the old teachers that used to teach me, 30 odd years ago are still there. And they took me around. They got the two school captains just to take me around the school because they built some new buildings and things like that. And we went down to the basketball courts, and it made me remember that when I was at that school and I was in year 6, Sean Bradley came to our school.
No way.
Yeah, he was on his 2-year Mormon mission, and he came to Australia and he came to Sydney and literally spent 2 years door knocking. Could you imagine 7'7" knocking on your door, wanting to tell you a little story about his friend Jesus Christ?
No way.
It was incredible. So, yeah, and so it just brought back that memory clear as day. We're on the basketball court, and he walked and he had like giant black trousers on, a white shirt as they do, and he had his Bible with him, and then he shot a couple of hoops, and I must have been 4'0", and this guy was still to this day obviously the biggest human I've ever been in the presence of. And so I went home, and it was a good memory to have, and I just did a quick search, and sure enough I found a newspaper clipping of him online in Sydney on his mission. And then I thought, I'm going to check if there's any pictures of him standing next to Manute Bol or next to George Murison or next to Yao Ming. And there's photos of him side by side with Murison and photos of him side by side with Yao Ming. And I think there's a legitimate case that he's the tallest person to have ever played the game.
Wow, I might have to look that up.
I really thought Murison was taller than him, but definitely not in the photos that I've seen. And he was easily taller than Ming.
Yeah, because Big George is listed at 7'7", and Bradley was always listed at 7'6".
Yeah, he's taller than he's taller in the photos that I've seen, and it looks like comfortable, and he knows it. He's got this. I'll send it to you after the podcast, but he's got this smug look on his face, and he knows it.
I always felt sorry for Sean Bradley. He showed some flashes.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know what went against him. Whether it was just he wasn't strong enough, or it was a mental thing. Or I can't put my finger on it. But I remember with Philly one day, he had like 23 points and 20 rebounds or something. And 8 block shots. He could turn it on when he wanted to, but never found that consistency.
Yeah, but for someone that high, he was definitely of those sort of 7'5", 7'6", 7'7", with the exception of Yao Ming. Obviously, his size and his pedigree, gave him an advantage, but. He was definitely the best of that sort of ilk of those tall, they're just a gimmick sort of a players. Like, he was head and shoulders the best.
Yeah, I mean, that game, I remember he got a rebound and he dribbled the whole length of the floor and finished with a dunk. You just don't see dudes that tall.
And look, he's on a lot of posters, but, I mean, you get that when you challenge a lot of shots. And, there's been some famous ones, and McGrady's put a famous one on him, and there's been quite a few that are notable. But, you only get that if you challenge him, and he was never scared and never backed down. For somebody who was, rake thin and, appeared to be a bit of a pushover, he obviously had a bit of nous about him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Look, maybe in this day and age he might have done a little bit better. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, just always felt a bit sorry for him. I remember Eddie Jones got him once good too. Ed O'Bannon got him. There's a few that got him.
I remember Ed O'Bannon got him. That's right. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, I think it was like a competition around the league. It had to have been.
Probably was. He'd get murdered today. The likes of Westbrook would just line him up. Could you imagine?
Yeah, but I reckon I don't know. I reckon he'd get a few too.
Oh, he would.
Even Zoe got dunked on.
Yeah, that's true.
I think remember when Coleman dunked on Shaq?
Yep, I do.
Yeah. Then he turned around and waved a finger. He's like, "Not today, Shaq." The commentator was like, "Not today."
I was going to say, I remember the commentator said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the 90s. Take us back, mate. Take us back 4 months ago. I'll take anything.
Yes. Well, you know what? That's another good segue. You are a professional at this, aren't you? I mean, you just your media career. I mean, no wonder you are Sydney's second richest man. Let me tell you.
I'll tell you what. With this coronavirus epidemic, I might drop to third. It'll only be momentary. I won't give you too much of daylight, Alan Jones, but I'll get back up there.
Well, you just look in the console of your bloody car, mate, and I'm sure you'll get back up to number 2.
What have we got?
Before we move on, actually, just go back to your school, your primary school.
Yeah.
Do they have the Benson wing there at all?
They don't, but you know what? I actually got back and I thought, how can I contribute? So we're actually going to, my business, so Benson Auctions, is going to look at some sort of way of contributing. Maybe, I don't know, pay a kid's school fees or supply some sort of tablets or something to the school. So I'm going to get my name up there somehow, even if I have to pay for it.
Look at you. I mean, I thought I was the people's champ, but nah. Benson, you are the man. Look at that.
Just trying to give back.
Look, if you want to buy someone a new tablet, mate, or a laptop.
Okay, now we go. Yeah.
Look no further. No, you can get me one.
I could buy our other host a tablet as well, but what's the fucking point if you don't have the internet?
That's another thing. Before we go on to the late great Kobe Bryant, we're in 2020, correct?
I believe this is the case, and look, even before then, 2019. Goodness me.
Now, who moves to a suburb that has no internet? I'll tell you who. Wayne Hunt. This is why, people, Wayne is not here tonight, because he's still waiting for an internet line to be dug up and put in, connected to his house in 2020. Research.
Yep.
Research. Oh, Wayne.
It's kind of unbelievable, to be honest. It's you'd think we were living out the back of Bangladesh or something, for Christ's sake. Actually, they'd probably have 6G by now.
And Wayne, if you thought we were going to come in here and not hang shit on you, you thought wrong. Look, speaking of months ago, this is going to hit us right in the feels. January 27th. I don't know where you were, Stu, but I'm going to tell you where I was.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just woke up. I can't even tell you the time. And as a habit for me, I always check Twitter and I always see what's going on in the sports world. And I see TMZ, and I don't follow TMZ, but TMZ's up. And it says, Kobe Bryant killed in a helicopter accident. And I'm like, first of all, piss off. Like, someone started this rumour.
Yeah.
As probably you thought the same.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to give it 5 minutes. And dude, I'm searching everything Kobe Bryant, everything. And nothing's coming up. And then after about 10 minutes, you saw it. And then there were so many there. It's like, this has to be true. It's still hard to believe that he's actually not with us.
Yeah.
I still feel like there's going to be a tweet. I still feel like he's just going to release an interview or to release something or talk about the Lakers. I still struggle to watch highlights of him.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that pops in my head is he's dead. Gigi's, and his lovely daughter is dead.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you what Kobe. Well, I'm just going to let you. We'll let you talk as well. But what Kobe. People. It's funny. People used to say to me, "Why are you upset for? Like you didn't know him."
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll put something out here. When I got made redundant from a job I was at for 24 years, you feel like you're a failure. You feel like you're worthless, even though you're not.
Yeah.
And you haven't failed. And you can have your wife and your family. And everyone tell you you're not. You've done well. It doesn't matter. You still feel that way. And I remember I went back to school. I'm in a job I love, but it's funny how these heroes help us, and they don't even know they're helping us because it was Kobe's. He's got all these quotes of inspiration and stories and stuff, and that's what I was using. The keep pushing, just keep pushing forward, all that stuff. I mean, I could go over the quotes. Everyone knows what the quotes are, and his little mantras and that Mamba mentality. And I've got a framed picture of him up here that I look at in my office here all the time, and I just I can't put it into words, Stu. What he meant. He's just an inspiration. He still is.
Yeah.
Well, tell me how you found out. Tell all the people listening what you were doing, how you found out, how you feel, and how you still feeling.
So, mate, I was on the day before. I was in LA. I was on I was at the airport on a changeover coming from the UK, visiting my family. I just had a gut feel. I had to go and visit my uncles and aunties. They're all getting on in age. They're all in the 70s, and I've just had this niggling sort of thing that I don't know, something bad was going to happen. And I didn't necessarily think it was going to be to any of them, but I just had this gut feel, and my wife, thankfully said, look, just go and jump on a plane, and off I went. So I went to the UK for 2 weeks in January. My flight took me from Heathrow to LA. I had a 6-hour layover before I could fly into Sydney. And I flew in. And I got a photo with Mehmet Okur at the terminal. I was, you don't often see a 6'11" Turkish dude walking through the terminal, and I was like, "That's Memo, no way!" And I went up to him, and he was talking Turkish, and he was about to board a flight to Turkey, and I just didn't even care. I just interrupted and said, "Memo, can I get a photo?" And he's like, "Yeah, for sure." And shook my hand and asked me, where I was from and where I was going, and we had like a real good chat. It was really nice to. I think he was pleased to be noticed, and I was pleased that he had the time of day to talk to me. So I'd gotten on the plane, and I fell asleep, and I got an IELTS on myself, and I'd had a great sort of. But I'd just been in LA, like it was the freakiest thing, and I was meant to. My uncle convinced me to tell my wife that I had a plane delay, and I was going to stay with him for 2 days because at the end of I think this was a Monday, I think I want to say, on the Thursday or the Friday, the Lakers were playing the Clippers. And so my uncle was trying to convince me to stay. And he's like, stay at my house. I'll pay for the ticket. Just tell Alison you got delayed. But I'd already been away for 2 weeks, and it just didn't feel right. So I jumped on the plane and came home. Now, I was a bit jet lagged, and I slept and slept and slept. And I tried to get up to get my body clock right, and I couldn't. And I checked my phone like you did. And it was a message from my mate, one of my brothers, one of my teammates, Sanjay, who follows us on Facebook and is a good mate of mine. And he was like, dude, I can't believe this is real, and like a crying emoji. And I'm just, I was jet lagged. I was really spaced out, really out of it. And I kind of groggily got up and checked my phone, and it was just very similar to you, man. It was just surreal. I was just like, no, it's got to be a misreport. This can't be right. Like this can't be. This cannot be right. If you'd have told me to list in numerical order 1 million people who could have died that day, he would not have made that list. I could have named 1 million other people. It still hasn't sunk into me either. Like it still hasn't sunk in. The cruelness of having Gianna next to him, terrified, frightened. I'm a father, you're a father, many of our listeners are. And look, fuck, you don't have to be a father to understand anguish and pain and things like that. I cried. I'm not joking. I reckon I walked into Alison. I'd slept in a spare room because my sleeping pattern was off and I didn't want to disrupt her. So I'd slept in the spare room, and I walked in just crying her eyes, and she sat up. She's like, what's wrong? And I said, Kobe's dead. And she said, what? I said, Kobe's dead. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, yeah, helicopter. And it just all caught up on me, and I just lost it. And mate, honestly, I don't remember what I did for the next 2 or 3 days after it. I genuinely, it's a blur. Fast forward to the 20th. The 20th. Was it when was the memorial?
It was the
8th of the second 20. No?
Yeah, something. It was. Oh, dude, their month. The way they do their dates.
Yeah.
It was 24th of the second.
24th of the second. That's right.
Yeah.
So fast forward almost a month to the memorial, and didn't sit. I stood through the whole thing. It was the weirdest thing. I stood because I just felt like I should have out of respect. I didn't sit. And man, like you said, some people don't understand. To their credit, I had so many people reach out to me, private messages, text messages, phone calls. Like they just knew how much he meant to me. Similar to you with your story, I did my ACL, wondered how I was ever going to get back on the court. I got a lot through his Achilles comeback, particularly at his age, and just his determination. But from day one, I read about Kobe Bryant as a high schooler at Lower Merion High School in Slam magazine. I had heard and read, and I just wanted him to be a Laker. And I watched that draft, and I watched it on Optus Vision on my television. I stayed home from school, and I watched that draft. And then when we traded for him, I was gutted that we traded Vladdy.
Yes.
Gutted. And I think Eldon Campbell. I'm trying to think. Was Eldon? No, he played with Eldon. Sorry, he played with Eldon.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I think it was Vladdy and Tony Smith.
Smith, that's right. Yeah. But I was excited. This kid, just like I'd read about him and just seeing how happy Jerry West was and everything. I just immediately became a fan. Just crazy. Like I just literally in high school started wearing number 8. Like in high school, barely. This kid was getting 12 minutes a game.
Yeah.
But there was something about him, man, and there's always been something about him.
You are 100%, and that memorial. So when he like you, man, I cried. I just buckets. But that memorial, I watched that with wife, 2 kids, and wife was emotional. My oldest daughter was emotional. My youngest was there, and I actually watched that whole thing just clutching his jersey. We've lost our leader, even when he wasn't playing anymore. He was still our legend, our leader. He was always the guy. When we sucked a few years ago, after he retired, he what did he say? He's like, we'll be fine with the Lakers. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Kobe said we're going to be fine. Dude, we're going to be fine. Yes, we've still got Shaq and Magic, but it's not the same. I don't know if you feel the same, but I always thought that eventually Kobe would either own part of the Lakers or go into the front office. I never thought he'd coach.
No, same.
And I just feel like we've lost someone who was just supposed to be a Laker for many, many, many years to come.
Yeah, that's probably the hard thing. I mean, trying to fathom someone dying at such a young age is just, it doesn't matter who you are, what walk of life. I mean, that's just robbed, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be a sports person. You don't have to be good looking. It doesn't matter. A father, a mother, it doesn't matter. It's horrendous and it's unfair. But this is somebody who deserved to be the Bill Russell of his generation. The 80-odd-year-old who is still being honoured and revered at the twilight of his life, much like we have it. I kind of felt like we got robbed of Wilt Chamberlain to a degree. He distanced himself from the league, but he did come back, when the 50th anniversary of the league came back, and he kind of started to come to a couple more games and things like that, and then he untimely passed away as well. But Kobe was just we watched him grow up. There was nothing like him. I mean, we met this kid when he was 17, and he grew up in front of us, with us, toiled, he succeeded, he had failures, he had, court dramas, he had all sorts, but it was all in front of our lives. And so when people kind of don't get it, I get that they don't get it, but also it's hard for us to not have this affinity with this kid because we quite literally grew up with him. He was a father like us. He loved the sport we loved. He inspired us. And it's just having the rug pulled out from you, and as you're falling, someone stabs you in the heart. Like, it is just a sinking feeling and it hurts. And it's just, to this day, it doesn't make sense. Like I watched his 60-point game, like his final game, like 2 nights ago.
Yep.
And just the smirks and the looks at Vanessa and just the joy that he had. And like fucking he was always scoring 60 that night, man, from the tip off.
Yeah.
He was always scoring 60. He went at it from the first play of the game. Like that was just him, man. He was just the epitome. And I don't like getting into who's the greatest of all time. I mean, for me, arguably, it's not even on the table, greatest Laker of all time. But, mate, there was something in him. I mean, he called it Mamba mentality. Call it what you will, but man, he was something else. And not just that killer mentality, the smirk, the kindness, the giving back, coaching the girls, advocacy for women's basketball. An Academy Award winner, just a brilliant human, and not just Lakers fans, man. Like, everyone's been robbed.
Oh, for sure. And that 60-point game, one of my favourite images in that game, or pieces of footage in that game, is towards the end of the game when who was it? Russell and Clarkson and a few other guys are running up to him. And he's just got his arms out and he's grabbed them all and hugged them all in. You could just tell him how much his teteammates, even though they sucked.
How much
they loved him.
All in, yeah.
I watched that. My daughter won't sit through the whole game, but I showed her the last, 5 minutes. And I just said to her, look how tired he is. Like, he's 37. Look how tired he is.
Absolutely wrecked.
He's got nothing left, but he just keeps pushing. And over the last year, my daughter was, he's been retired 4 years. My daughter really got into Kobe Bryant last year, and when he passed away, she felt it, and we were at the market, and she saw this pretty big print of Kobe Bryant, and she's like, Dad, can I get it? I'm like, yeah. I was always going to say yes. So she's got that above her bed, and that's what I'm saying, man. He's just an inspiration. He's still teaching even in death. Like, just chase your dream. Just keep working hard.
Oh man, I watch these YouTube videos and they kill me. But and there's, like you just said, there's these lessons in these sound bites that people, when they're editing them, these videos. So the graphics are obviously of him playing and up fakes and dunks and things like that, but they're being narrated by Kobe giving these speeches and. Just an intellect, like there's not a lot of that combination in sport of just these deep thinkers who want to give back and want to teach and want to impart lessons onto people about things that are bigger than the sport. And he was just such a big advocate of that.
Yep. Yeah. Look. I don't know when it'll sink in. It's hard for me to put into words. Like, there's so much I want to say, but I can't explain how it's still, I guess, raw, how raw it still feels, like unbelievable, how surreal.
It's just not, my brain has not accepted it.
No, and then you get those thoughts of like, why the fuck didn't this pilot, why did he fucking fly, if someone could tell Kobe, hey, listen, it's okay to be late for a basketball game.
I know.
And then, why Kobe when there's really bad people out there,
Oh, those sorts of hypotheticals run through my brain all the time. When the aviation authority said that they were 9 foot from clearing the top of the mountain when they struck it, 9 foot. That's from the ground to the net. Away from the ground. That's how close they were to being here today.
Yep.
It just makes no sense. And why I get it that guy was one of the very few pilots in the country that was cleared to fly blind. So he was cleared to fly via navigation only. So he didn't technically need to see anything. So I get that he had the qualifications, but why roll that dice, dude? You're a father. Like, I'm kind of some of that I almost get angry because I'm like, dude, why did you? You know, like I wouldn't put myself in that situation. Why did you do it, man? Like I don't know. And you know, I feel for women's basketball as well. Like anybody who saw Gigi play live at her age, you know, people like Diana Taurasi, you know, and these, you know, just Deladonna and all these people saying like none of them were that good at that age. Like they will put their hands up, and they're not saying it out of legacy, and they're not saying it out of respect. They're just saying that none of them had her game at her age. Like she was something else. Like she was on a path for greatness in her own right.
Big time, mate. She was going to be, and like yourself, I'm not saying it because it's Kobe's daughter. She was going to be the Kobe Bryant of the women's league.
Yep.
She was going to tear that league apart. You could, like you said, you could see it. She had everything.
And I loved it. Yeah, and I loved that Kobe didn't care that he didn't have a son. And I loved all these interviews. And you could tell he was genuine. He did not care. He had, you know, he had his baller, and that's what mattered. I think it would have crushed him if none of them liked basketball.
Yes.
But he had his prodigy. He had his baller, and yeah, man, he loved her.
Yep. I what can you say? It's just, you know, I've got a question for you about the memorial.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, I've tried to look it up, but was his relationship with his parents better when he passed away, or was it still a bit strained? Because I know Gigi was close to his parents, especially Joe.
Yeah.
And I know his sisters were in his life, but I don't know if you know anything.
I'd heard that they had recently started not reconciling, but being present. So you know, in the room at the same time and talking and Skyping and stuff like that. So I'd heard that that Kobe had reached out a bit of an olive branch and was trying to mend that relationship. Obviously, to those who are listening, from what I know, Joe sold a whole heap of stuff that Kobe had given him. Is that right?
Yeah, not just Joe. I think his mum Pam had something to do with it as well. I think I think he was. Look, I'm not quite sure. I read it a long time ago, but I think he actually didn't. He did give them some championship rings that he had made for them.
Yeah.
But he also had some stuff stored at their house. Why, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they've just gone and up and sold a lot of it to help pay for a house or something, because he cut them off.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
and I don't know if the stories of reconciliation are true or that it's trying to make the story a little bit less, sad. But yeah, I had heard that they had been on speaking terms for the first time in years.
Yeah, and look, I just thought it was it was a lovely memorial, and it was a celebration of his life, and I love how everyone spoke. But kudos to Shaq for actually mentioning his parents.
Yeah.
No one else did that. I thought that was a bit wrong. Like, these are look, for everything that happened, like, they weren't bad parents.
No, and I think that says a lot about Shaq and his upbringing as well. You know, he's very, very, and always has been very respectful, to, his father and his stepfather, and his mother. And, he's just, that's him. And, when he said it, I just sort of smiled because I knew if anybody was going to say it, it was going to be Shaq.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. I felt a real mourning for a real hurt for Michael Jordan. It was a real eye opener for me. So, I mean, in terms of greats who keep connected with the game, Michael really, with the exception of the fact that he's been in the front office of Washington, and then obviously his ownership of the Hornets. He runs his camps and he's very philanthropic and gives back, a lot of money, but not really ever accessible and hands-on to the league. And you don't see him at things, and I don't know. And I felt in his speech, in the tears in his eyes and the depth of his despair, that he really envied Kobe's post-game relationship with the players and the league and the love. And I don't know, it kind of just came across that he, I don't know, maybe this will change him. Maybe this will, I don't know, maybe this might reconnect Jordan with a different era of fans and, of just, people who are interested in the game of basketball, because a lot of people just know the legend of Michael Jordan, but don't know him post basketball career. I don't know. I just had a weird feeling that he just had this, I don't know, an acknowledgement of his disconnection.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually really haven't given that a thought, but now that you say it, like Kobe had a lot of, after his retirement, even 3 to 4 years down the track, he seemed to have a lot of relationships with players.
Yeah, big time.
Even youngsters that he never played with, like Trey Young and guys like that. Whereas MJ, when he retired, you didn't really see that. And I think MJ might have lost, I'm sure he's friends with Scotty and all that, but with Kobe, he seems to have probably lost his best friend in the basketball world.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching it. I really did. And I don't know, it just felt weird. And I've watched Jordan's specific speech about 4 or 5 times now, and he just, he's obviously hurt, obviously affected, and obviously deeply mourning. But there was just a very acute and obvious acknowledgement of Kobe's broad love outside the game of basketball. And like you said, these players, and even if it was just tweets and challenges, and, he challenged Giannis to win the MVP, and Giannis did. And, he's in constant contact with Booker and Trey Young and Luka and these guys, and just didn't play with any of them, but just, wanted to be a part of the game. And I don't know, I would love to think that out of Kobe's passing, that maybe, arguably the greatest player of all time, might think that, let's leave nothing on the table and let's reconnect to the game.
I hope so, man. I would love to see it. I got, like many people, we just got so much love for MJ.
Oh, in the documentary.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You know what sucks? I had lined up with a very good mate of mine, Pepito. So we were going to get together, have a few beers.
Oh, yeah.
And this, we know why we can't now. But look, something to look forward to in a time that really sucks at the moment. So I just can't wait for that. That is just going to be absolute mint.
I'll tell you what, I genuinely think that was Richard Jefferson and LeBron James's Skype call that got that happening.
Yeah, I reckon so too, mate. LeBron. Let's not credit Richard Jefferson.
Let's not. I love that banter between them both. When Richard Jefferson was like, "I don't want to get fired," and LeBron's like, "Man, you're my boy. You're not getting fired. You're not getting fired." LeBron is the mogul, man. He runs this shit.
Hey, listen, on as you know, people listening and yourself, if you're looking for something to watch, on YouTube, Richard Jefferson talks about, he breaks down the comeback in the finals in 2016.
Oh, I've not watched it. I've heard about this.
Yeah, it's I won't spoil anything, but it's really good. It probably goes for about 40 minutes. Really.
Wait, yeah, don't tell me who wins.
All right. He speaks really well, RJ.
If you close your eyes, he's white. If you close your eyes, he's like some white accountant from Iowa.
Yeah, I'll do that next time he's talking.
Next time he's talking, close your eyes, and it's just like, yeah.
But no, really interesting stuff. Talks about Ty Lue, what he said to LeBron at halftime during a game in the finals.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Ty Lue was a bit fiery, it seems.
Okay.
Yeah. But everyone out there and yourself, check it out. It's well worth a watch. Everyone I've shared it with who's a LeBron fans.
I think whether you're a LeBron fan or not, you come back from 3-1 in an NBA Finals series against the best basketball team in arguably, I don't know, a decade, a generation almost. I mean, it is incredible. And I think it'll be one of those things that gets more revered as time goes on and people will appreciate it later on. And maybe it's a little bit hard to give too much credit while he's still playing. But that feat in itself, I mean, I know his finals record isn't impeccable, but to have done what he did against that team, and I know there's some luck and some things that went against, obviously Draymond missed out a game and things like that, but what an achievement. It's incredible.
And look, I to this day think that if Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving weren't injured, he would have got 2 titles.
Agree. So do I.
They were just a better team than the Warriors that when they were injured. And okay, if I got flack over it, I honestly believe that.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same camp, 100%. I think people never bring that up when they want to tarnish LeBron's finals record. They never bring that up. Or they never talk about the teams that he dragged to the finals who had no business being there.
Yep. I mean, look, we had fun poking at LeBron over the years.
Yeah.
But that's all it was. It was a bit of fun. But if you really get serious, yeah, like you said, those teams he dragged, like that 07 team.
What was that? Drew Gooden, Zadrunas Ilgauskas, Larry Hughes. He's
Eric Snow.
Eric Snow. Come on. Yeah.
Eric Snow. Doniel Marshall.
Marshall. Yeah, he would have been about 43. Yeah.
Ira Newble. I mean, come on, man. Gee whiz.
Yeah, I remember Ira with his cornrows and just thinking, man, you're not a G, man. Like, your name is Ira. Come on, man. Didn't they have Sasha Pavlovic?
Yes, but not.
Yeah.
Was he getting minutes? I don't think he was in. No, he could have been. Who knows?
Trash team though. Come on.
It was pretty bad, mate.
Yeah,
pretty bad. Damon Jones, was he there? No, he wasn't there that year.
No,
but he could shoot.
Still, they had no business being in the finals. Who would they have knocked out? Would they have knocked out the Pistons?
Yeah, you remember LeBron had scored like 20 in the last quarter, like 20 or 25 in the last quarter.
And took him into overtime. He scored like the last 27 points or something. Yeah, okay. That was that year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Far out. That was a weak era in basketball, I think.
Look, still, they had no business being there. Really. I mean, Pistons were a way better team. I think Flip Saunders cost that Pistons team.
Did the Spurs swept them, didn't they?
Yeah, with a massive, massive broom.
Yeah, okay.
That series annoyed me because I obviously hated the Spurs. And I was like, Larry Hughes, do something.
Yeah.
And it's always in the last game when they're about to be swept where Ilgauskas and Hughes decided to play well.
Yeah.
It's like, where was that the last 3 games?
Yeah, when we could have, hung about, yeah.
Yeah, but look, before we finish up, it's going to be tough. Favourite Kobe memory? You can have more than one, I guess, if you want. But, it's going to be tough. And it's probably, it's a question without notice. But see if you can think of one.
Oh, okay. Have you got one?
I do. I've got a couple.
Okay.
I can go first if you like.
Yeah. Give me some time. If you've had a bit of time to think about it, you go, and I'll try and come up with one or two.
All right. First one is when he did his Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's not a memory that I cherish, but watching him limp off the court and then limp back to shoot 2 free throws, and with that look on his face, and you could just tell he's going, these might be my last bucket, my last points, because let's face facts, he was 34 years old doing your Achilles, and the way he just sucked it up, and again, man, that Mamba mentality, he just keep pushing forward. He nailed 2 free throws, walked off. I guess my last good memory was, there's plenty, but one of my favourites when we won the 2010 title in that final game. I mean, he was banged up, man. He had broken finger. The knee was wrecked. But he just, again, that, and this is what's a good memory for me. It's an inspiration. He just kept pushing. He was doing other things. Like, he was rebounding the hell out of the ball. He was playing defense. His shot wasn't falling. But we still don't win it without him. That's the kind of, look, you could say 81-point game and that streak where he hit like 50, 50 and 60, and that's all great. But I don't know, I like guys who can play through an injury and not have this bloody load management. And Kobe was never like that. Kobe played through everything and still got 20 years out of himself.
Yeah. I actually, funnily enough, oh no, 100%, man. I, funnily enough, I watched Game 7, 2010, about a fortnight ago. That would be definitely on my list. I mean, I think he shot, I'm totally guessing, I'm not Googling right now. I actually think he shot 6 of 24.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He absolutely shot like trash. But he made him when it counted. He made him in the second half. He made him in the fourth quarter when it counted.
Yep.
I think he ended up with 15 rebounds.
Yep, big time. He was huge.
And that won us the game. Our rebounding and our second chance shots won us the game. And to contribute 15 rebounds, and I do think 6 or so of those were offensive. That in itself contributed to the win, but just the little things, and obviously hitting Ron for that shot. Whilst he does lift his hands up in the air a little bit when Ron lets it go, I think everybody in the stadium held their breath when Ron let that go. But I do think before it dropped, Kobe realised it was dropping. But just that's a moment I'll never forget. And watching it live. But look, I'm lucky enough to have watched all 5 of his championships and all 5 of them live. Every single game, so back paces through sixes, so all of them. So, I don't know. I just really love the Shaq and Kobe era, the duo, the dominance. So not a game so much. I loved it when we came back against the Blazers. The famed alley-oop. But just the camaraderie, and I know they had their issues, and I know it didn't end well. But man, when they were firing, and they were really the rebirth of Showtime, the two of them. It was electric, and it was just a great time to be a Lakers fan. And we just had the perfect pieces, whether it was Big Shot Bob or Rick Fox, or whether it was fellow draftmate Derek Fisher, Shaw, Harper. It was just a great time with these amazing rosters, and I don't know, the two of them. I mean, you can't really say Kobe without mentioning Shaq, and it's a lovely, I guess, thing to have in your legacy, that you're a part of something bigger than just you. But man, it chokes me up. Like I cannot believe this kid that I grew up watching and idolizing. I bought those stupid Adidas shoes that look like an Audi TT. And I only bought them because he made them. I only bought them because they were Kobe's. I hated them, and they were terrible. But I just had his poster on my wall. When he was a rookie, he had the back page of the Slam magazine. Adidas took an ad. So Adidas took an ad out. They ran it for a couple of issues of Slam magazine on the back, and in the background is Kobe dunking, like a silhouette of him dunking. And then there's all these questions down the page, and I'll take a photo, and I'll when we upload the podcast, I'll upload it in the comments section. But it's just all these potential accolades. So it's like, Rookie of the Year, All-Star, MVP, Champion, and all these sorts of things. And he did it all, man. Yep. He did it all. Everything that he could have, first team this, first team that. He didn't take any playoff. He was a defensive pit bull. Just so multifaceted. And there are very few people on this planet that will, on their deathbed, whether they see it coming or not, be able to say, hand on heart, that they gave it everything. And man, if that's anything that we can live our lives by, or be inspired by, or pass on to our children, yeah, he was 6'5", 6'6", and so genetically, there are plenty of 6'5" people who never make it to a bloody past a rec league. It's drive, it's determination, and he's one of the very few humans alive that has gotten absolutely everything he could out of what I imagine to be every day of his life.
Yep, well said, mate. I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more.
And mate, it's still, honestly, it hasn't sunk in. It's been lovely watching all the previews and all the replays and everything. Obviously, again, we're recording this on the anniversary of Kobe's last game, when he gave it to Haywood and Jingles and Rodney Hood and the Utah Jazz, and much like the 81-point game, really quickly, against Toronto, that was a game that they needed all those points from him. That wasn't showboating. That wasn't, a dead rubber of a game. I mean, the 81-point game, they came back from a deficit, and Kobe's 81 literally won them the game. And, whilst it was the end of season game against the Utah Jazz, and it did ultimately matter for nothing, they weren't playoff bound. It was still a W in the column. It still altered the record of both teams. And, mate, all 60 of them were needed. And when they needed Kobe, on his last game with no legs, again, he gave that team, that city, and this game everything he had.
Yep. And that is a perfect way, I think, Benson, to put a bow on the Kobe talk and the reminiscing. Bit of a sad way to end the podcast.
Look, I mean, look, like anything, it'll get better with time in terms of our comprehension of it all. And I mean, gee whiz, mate, 66% of this podcast are Lakers till we die. So we'll be bringing him up. We'll be talking about Bean fondly for as long as this podcast continues, which will be. Let's try and outdo Kobe's career to honour him. Let's see if we can go for 21 years.
Well, when did we start? I don't even know when we started. We're still not good at it, but we started on Sunday.
Tonight was probably one of the best.
Oh, without doubt, mate. It's like Russillo and Simmons, isn't it? Really?
It's like with
you're Simmons because you match the bank account, and I'm Russillo. I'm just the blue collar.
Jeez, couldn't have anything to do with the fact that we've cut off the COVID. I mean, the Deadwood. I mean, Wayne. No.
The walking COVID, Wayne, just decimated Brooklyn and New York. And Wayne, what have you done?
Who knew? One of the early indicators were receding hairline. Get the message out.
Wow, I've got to send this to him to edit. So
he's editing this.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to hear this.
Yeah, we don't care. We're not scared. What's Wayne going to do? You wander around with bodyguards, and he's not going to do anything to me.
You're a state away, mate. We can't even leave our houses. You're safe, mate.
I'm a state away, and I'm a beast.
God, I'll tell you what though. Shout out to everybody listening and conversing on the Facebook page as well, guys. I mean, look, we're all in it together. I'm sure there are people and fans of the pod and of the page as well who've either lost jobs or have had to change hours and are doing it tough. Look, we're all in the same boat. We're all going through it. Just look after yourselves. If you want to have some banter, chat, you can private messages at any time. If you don't want it to be on the wall, if you want to have a chat with us, do so on the Facebook page. Between the three of us, we're always there for a reply, for a comment. And quite honestly, to slide into our DMs and have a chat if there's anything that you want to get off your chest, confidentially and privately. We're certainly not counsellors, but we're always here to listen to you guys, because you guys listen to us, and you're the reason why we do what we do.
Yeah, well said, absolutely. And like Benson said on the Facebook page, it's all caps Courtside. If you throw that in the search bar, we're on Podbean. I nearly said Podomatic. We're on Podbean. But yeah. Look, if we manage to make it laugh, and forget about this stupid virus for an hour or so, depends how much Wayne cuts out. We've done our job, and we have fun doing it. We enjoy the banter. We love talking hoops, love reminiscing. So yeah,
It's going to be good. It's going to. Hey, we're finally going to get a podcast. It's not 80% Wayne. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and did you notice? Didn't really interrupt you at all.
No, we didn't. And we didn't have to talk about that fucking team in Memphis.
Yeah, who? What team? Yeah, no one knows about that team. Only to the Yar Morants. That's what they call.
We love you, Yar.
Love you, Yar. Wayne.
All right, we'll
Sorry, Wayne.
We'll do it all again soon. Courtside fans, thanks for listening.
And stay home, people.
A 60-point game for Kobe Bryant. Lakers up by 3. Don't give up any fouls. Hayward all the way. Misses. Taken by Randall. Bryant ahead with 7 seconds. Clarkson. No. The Lakers are going to win it. The Lakers are going to win it. What a performance. What an exit for number 24. You couldn't have written this.